Hello, everyone. It's William here. That's me here at Allegory Gallery. Thank you all for tuning in. If you're here, please say hi. It is a pretty warm. I was going to say it's chilly. I'm a little chilly now because I'm in this area. This area over here in the studio doesn't get as warm as some of the other areas. I was in a warmer area most of today doing shipping. The shipping department is in our toasty room with the pellet stove, and so moving from there to here, a little bit chilly. But I hope you're all doing well. Let's see, Susie's here, Dominion is here, Michelle is here. Hello, hello. Michelle says, hope Andrew is feeling better. He is starting to feel a little better. He's on a meeting right now, and he will be on that meeting until at least about 8:30 or 9 o'clock tonight. So I don't know if we'll see him pop in. I don't think he's going to come up here, but he might pop in on the live, from home. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe in the comments at least. But he is feeling a little bit better, although he hasn't been getting much sleep, which is normal for him. He's been staying up working, and I thought he was going to go to bed last night. He was falling asleep on the couch, as we both were, because we're both pretty exhausted. But he stayed up and I think worked on some of his paintings again last night. So hello, Jennifer. Good to see you here. Thank you for joining us. Norma is here. Hello, Norma. Thank you for joining us. Cheryl is here. Says hi there, listening while I wrap some presents. It's that time, isn't it? It is that time. Thank you all for being here and hanging out. We do appreciate it. I've been packing and shipping all day, trying to work through some of the online store orders from our sale and things going on, trying to keep up with stuff, trying to get some of the older orders that we have. It goes by so fast. So thank you all for being patient about that. I've been a little run down. I don't know if I had something as well. I've just been feeling very run down. It could just be the holidays in general. I was thinking about it earlier, like when I was a kid, the holidays were like this great time, and now it's the time of the year that is usually the most pressing for us in so many different ways. And most small businesses, I think, are like this. You try and make as much money as you can during the holidays to get through the winter, and of course, that's not always possible. You got to keep pushing. And then, of course, you're up against a time constraint trying to get things out in time, to get things to people. And, sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes you're not able to do that. And a lot of times you are, which we got a lot of stuff out. It's the time of customer service. It's the time of all these things that are going on. And we're so thankful for the AG Bead fam out there who hangs out with us, and you sit with us, many of you, every day on this live, and we're so thankful for you. You just help keep us sane, because it is a wild time for a small business during the holidays. And every small business, I am sure 100% is doing everything they can to make everybody as happy as possible during this time. It's not a time when we want to let people down. So, but there's a lot that goes on in the holidays in the background. There's usually a larger influx of orders. There's, more people needing things in a quicker time period, or in a shorter time period. There's just so much. So that is, on my mind, and we've been trying so hard to get things done. I have been very run down. I don't know if I had maybe a smaller version of what Andrew had, but I'm finally starting to feel a little bit better, and that it's been rough. Yeah. That's what it is. Suzanne says, I got notified my packages arrived Friday. Nice. Yes. Hopefully it will. Suzanne says, I do have some things as gifts, but we won't meet until January 20th. Yeah, that's the other thing too, is I know a lot of people are not doing things on the holidays this year. I've heard that a lot, actually. A lot of people aren't doing the holiday things on the holidays. They're not able to. They're not able to get together with people until later, or sometimes much later. And so we just finalized plans, kind of, I think, for our family. We're getting together on Christmas Eve, early in the day at noon, which is not normal for us. Normally we get together at like 5. But we're doing it at my brother's, and they plan to go to Christmas Eve Mass or whatever it is that they do, something at their church that they're having Christmas Eve night. So we are getting together earlier in the day so that they can do that in the evening. So that's a definite change for us. Most of my life, we've always gotten together in the evenings, and it's been kind of Christmas all night long, but it's going to be a little bit different this time. But we just kind of finalized that today, and yeah, it's been a lot going on. Midnight Mass, says Jennifer. Maybe that's it. I don't know if that's what they call it. I don't even know what religion technically they are. We used to be Seventh-day Adventist, and they used to go, but I don't think they do that anymore. So I'm not sure, but it's probably the same thing. It's probably the same thing. Michelle says, we're skipping Christmas this year, me being sick for so long, the hubby is needing back surgery. Oh boy, that's terrible for him. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, it's hard, right? Sometimes I'm trying to, look at it like, we're going to get through it, right? It's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. I think some of our gifts are going to be arriving late. So I'm just, I think there is so much pressure put on people during this time of year. And I think so many people understand it and get it. So I know like some of the things we wanted, they're going to be arriving late, and we'll just give it to people later or send it to them, and that's just kind of, I'm trying not to let that dampen the spirit, right? Because the spirit of the holidays, I think no matter what you celebrate, whether you celebrate at all, like, I'm not a religious person, so the holidays for me is just as supposed to be a time where people come together. I love Christmas. I love the decorations. I love the lights. I've always loved that. But I don't consider myself an overly religious person. So, um, you know, whatever you celebrate, however you celebrate, I always believe like it's just a time when people are supposed to come together and be nice, right? Like, let's just be nice. And, as a small business, I am split on that because, it is one of the best times of the year for us for sales in the winter. Um, it's one of those things that we really, we really need. And so we push things during this time, obviously. But as a person who wants to celebrate the holidays, I don't think everything needs to be about, about giving expensive things. I guess and that's the difference. And I think that's why I can I can run this small business this way with Andrew, and knowing that we are supplying things that will create handmade things most likely. And that's what is really different, I think, and what is really meaningful in the way that I see what we do, and how I can kind of justify that holiday stuff, because I think giving handmade things is so, I think we've been away from that for a long time, and maybe that's just me. Uh, there's a lot of pressure to buy expensive things. There's a lot of pressure to give gifts that are worthy of giving. But I think the most worthy things of giving are the things that you make out of love, and the things that that you've created for someone in particular. And so I think that's what's really important, is that we come back to the love that is supposed to be there, and the togetherness that is supposed to be there during the holidays. The commercialism of it, I see it because we run a small business and I understand it. But at the same time, I think that there has to be more to it. And that's what I like about what we do, mostly supplying supplies. I mean, we make finished items too, but mostly supplying supplies that you use to create something for someone else. And I think that's lovely. And I've seen so many of you that posting some of the gifts that you are making for people, and they're beautiful and they're wonderful, and I hope that they are received in that way. Um, for a long time, when I was in New York, I ran with some crowds that weren't into that. That everything had to be very materialistic, and everything was supposed to be designer, and everything was supposed to be, expensive, and it becomes so heartless. Like it's very cold, and there's a lot of pressure to keep up, and because of that pressure, there's less of a connection between the people, right? It's when you put a lot of pressure on someone to do this, do that, especially in a city that yes, you can make lots of money there, but most people were not. But they still had that attitude that things had to be of a certain name or of a certain brand, and it's really it really became something that kind of dampened the spirit of the holidays, because you're always trying so hard to please people, and that's not what the holidays are supposed to be about, right? They're supposed to be about giving from your heart because you want to, because somebody means something to you. So that's what I like about what we do, and I like the fact that you can grab something here, you can make something for someone else, and you can send it on its way to them, or you can give it to them in person if you see them in person. But um, and it doesn't have to be jewelry. Like, a lot of people make lots of different things from the beads that we supply, and I love to see it. So how about today, let me put up an AG Live challenge for you all. If you can, post in the Allegory Gallery Design Challenges group the things that you are making for other people this season. Now, I know some people don't want to share because they might be seen by other people, but if you know that people aren't following the AGB fam, or they're not in the group, and you can post it, we'd love to see, for the AG Live Challenge, the gifts that you are making for other people. And I would love that. I would love that. So I hope you see it, and I hope you show it, is what I mean, and I hope I get to see it. Suzanne says, your friendship is a gift, your love is a gift. Thank you. Yours too. And that's the other thing. That's what things should be, right? We should just spend time with one another. We should, I always say this: we have a business to run. I have to make money. That's the nature of it. But that doesn't mean that the love isn't still there, the friendship isn't still there. Like, when we hang out with you on these lives, I'm honestly, I love doing these. They're difficult sometimes, and some days, some days are harder than others. I'm not going to lie. Some, just like you don't want to hang out with anyone some days. But generally, after each one, I'm glad I've done it, because we get to feel that energy from you. We get to give that energy back to you. There's a lot of love in the AG Bead fam, and we're not the largest group out there. I know that. We're not. We don't have the biggest numbers, but I think we are one of the most close knit. I think we are one of the most honestly caring. We don't have bad eggs in the group. We help each other. We take care of each other. We keep an eye on each other. And when we're around, we visit one another, right? If we go to an area, anytime we're somewhere, when we go to Memphis, or when we go, wherever Andrew goes, we're always checking to see if there's somebody in the area. We're always putting out that call to see if there's AG Bead fam in the area to try to hang out with, if we're able to. And it's not always possible. Our trips are often very business related and very quick, and to the point. But if we can, we do. And I think that's very important. We try to be as down to earth and as real as possible with you about everything that goes on. And sometimes it may seem, to onlookers, it may seem like, why are they talking about that? Why are they sharing that? Why? We've gotten that a lot, actually, over the years, but we feel it's important. Transparency in what we do, because we consider you friends. We consider you, we are the AG Bead fam, we are family, and we want you to know what is going on as much as we possibly can. Jennifer says, I consider myself a random gifter. That's good. You know, I think that's important too. Some people would rather give gifts throughout the year as you see something or as you make something that reminds you of someone. And, you know, that can add a lot of pressure for people like that in the holidays to feel like they have to do more. But it's like, I've given all throughout the year. Like it's you know, and I like that idea. When I see something that reminds me of somebody, if I do, I like to pick it up then, and I can't hold it. Like, I'm not one of those people that can, okay, I'm going to put it in the closet, and we're going to give it to them at Christmas. We're going to give it to them on their birthday. Like, I can't. If I see something that I'm so excited about that it sparked something in me that reminded me of someone else, it's pretty much immediate. Like, I'll just send it to them, or I'll give it to them when I see them. I'm not one of those people that can like hold it, so that when the holidays come, then I'm like, oh, what do I get them now? And I always feel that extra little bit of pressure. And normally, of course, they're always like, you got me this, you got me that, it's fine. But there is, I feel like sometimes that extra pressure to be like, okay, now I got to get more. But I would rather pick up things as I see them for people than feel compelled to do it at any point in time. So I get that. Norma says, I just put a picture of the late gift in a wrapped box and say it's coming soon. That's a good thing too, right? And just put a picture in the box. That's a good idea. I might be doing that. We'll see. We'll see. Of course, my friends also know that I'm often late with things. So, and I've always been that way. Like even like, you know, the small business and running all this doesn't help things. But I have always also been one of those people. I get very involved in one thing, and sometimes that's the business, and then I forget. Like, even though we've been talking about the holidays for months now, because we have to, and I think that's part of it too. That sometimes things don't get actually ordered for people until too late, or I don't realize how much time is needed. I do that a lot, and so people are used to that from me. It's just one of those, you know, loving traits from your friend, that many people have dealt with that from me over the years, and I'm thankful that they're still my friend. But they get it. My good friends do not care when the gifts come. They don't have to arrive on Christmas Day or on Christmas Eve or on New Year's Day or exactly on their birthday. And so I'm that same way. You know, I don't. You can send me a birthday gift that gets there 2 weeks after my birthday. You thought of me. That's okay. I don't mind. It's I've never been that kind of person. So I guess that's why. Like, I don't expect it of others, and so they generally don't expect it of me. I think it's that kind of law of attraction. What you put out, you get back. So most of my friends, we attract each other because we're very easygoing that way. Michelle says, hubby's late Christmas present will be his surgery. He's in a lot of pain and cannot work. We're waiting for his surgery date. That's good. You've got that moving at least. I don't know why my stand is very, I have it propped up in certain ways. So if the camera just slides off at any point, that's why. But I'm glad you've got that set up, and we are sending him good energy. He's a good guy. We definitely have seen a lot from him through, getting to know you, and we send our best wishes to him as well. He's part of the AG Bead fam too, whether he knows it or not, or likes it or not. He definitely is. Angela is here. Hello, Angela. This is hello from Royalport, South Carolina. How's it down there? It's been 50 degrees here today. Lovely, lovely. Michelle says, as kids, we were taught to make gifts. Yeah, we were not. And I do have to say, so Christmas was one of the times that my family, because my mom I've talked about the things that she's gone through, and my family have gone through various lives and things we've talked about. We did not grow up with a lot of money. We never really felt it too much, you know. And we were very lucky in many ways. Andrew, he felt it more than I certainly did. But Christmas was one of those reasons we never felt it, because my grandparents and my aunts and uncles would spoil us rotten on Christmas. And so Christmas was that time of year for us when, you put in your biggest wishes and dreams of the things you wanted. And, usually at least one of them, if not more, came true. And so that was one of those things. And my mom did without in a lot of ways so that we could have as kids. And I was very lucky to have family around that had worked hard. They were not super well off, but they had worked hard. And my grandparents, my grandfather worked. He came out of retirement about 3 different times, but they ended up, having enough, and they could spoil us once in a while, and fairly often they like to do that. But my mom grew up with her father and my grandfather shooting squirrels or other things for dinner, because literally they had to do that. So they grew up without a lot, and they were able to spoil us as their grandkids when they were able to. And that was the story of my whole family. They did not grow up with a lot of money. We didn't inherit money. We've just always been hardworking people generally. And so that was one of those things, like, we weren't really taught to make gifts, because I think part of it was my family was, it was that do better for the next generation. And in doing better for, for whatever it was worth, they had probably made things, in their younger years, and they were more than happy to. That was kind of a showing of progression, that they were able to buy things instead of make things, I think. And so, it's funny how I come full circle now. I'm like, let's make stuff for gifts. Like, it's all those things. And I guess, because I'm a product of that, and I have to accept that that is a product of privilege. Even though we didn't have a lot, it's funny to say that, but that is a product of privilege, where in a lot of ways, I came from a family that probably most likely made a lot of their gifts at one point, and then went through the cycle of being able to buy gifts, now back around to the cycle of it's okay to make gifts, right? And I think that's the society which makes that feel that way. Um, that has for many years pushed already made things and consumer things, that they are better than handmade. But I don't think that's the case. I don't believe that's the case. But it's taken me a long time. Like I said, I went through many, many stages in my life, um, where, I was laughed at for having handmade things. Um, I had some handmade things when I moved to New York still, and I was proud of them, but I was laughed at for some of them. And in school, that was one of those things. So it was one. I don't know. I don't know. I now, obviously, I think handmade is wonderful, and I think more people should do it, and I think that should be the spirit of things. Um, but that's not always the case, and our society makes a big case for the opposite of that, unfortunately. Um, Jennifer says, or if they make jewelry, we can give them beads. That's true too. That's absolutely true. We know a lot of jewelry makers that would love some beads, right? Um, Nancy says, my ex's family focused on how much was spent and the name brand. They never appreciated my handmade creation. Sad. Yeah, there are people out there, that's their life. If it's not a brand name, it's not worth anything. Um, the funny thing is a lot of those brand names started out as people who make things, right? Most designers start off as an individual person who was just sitting at a, when you're talking about clothing, sitting, sewing some clothes and putting some clothes, making patterns and making those. What is, they just happen to hit at the right time or have the right thing or meet the right people that they got blown up into something different. But it all started as handmade. So many brand names and so many of the things that people covet, who are like that, all of those things started generally as one or two people who were just trying to make things on their own. um, so I think when you look at things like that, you got to keep that in mind, right? I believe any person who is buying our beads, buying things from us and making things, I believe any of you all have the possibility, if you want to make it big and to create, you know really create an empire if you want to. Um, you know, we have so many people who are fantastic at making things and make beautiful things. And, like I said, sometimes it takes meeting the right person or the right people, to really push you out there. But, any gift from any person, I would be proud to have, because I believe any of you could do exactly what those big name brands do, or started out doing. So that's one of those things, right? It's one of those things. Michelle says, I can share what I've made before. Yeah, let's do that. Do that too. Jennifer says, it's great the way that you share your goals and challenges made me happy to support you. Thank you. Yeah, we're not in this alone. No, I don't know. There are, when you look at, I guess, big companies, and, once you go public, and it's it's less about the customer and less about the employees, and it's more sorry and it's more about the shareholder, right? That's the relationship at that point. But when you are a small business and you are in this economy, it is you and your customer, right? That's the person you're trying to please. And yes, in a roundabout way, in order to please your investors, right, your shareholders, you have to please the customers. Yeah, sure, but that's not where the mindset ultimately is, right? Um, it's oftentimes, pumping out enough stuff at a low enough price that enough people are going to buy it to keep the shareholders happy. When you are a small business, there, I believe, is a direct link, and should be a direct link, between what you do, who you are, and who purchases from you. And that's very important to us. So it's always been important that we've kept you in the loop in what we do and how we do it. And, you know, we're not the fastest growing little bead business out there, but we have grown from absolutely nothing. In 2011, Andrew and I started our store, um, with about a little less than $10,000. And that sounds like a lot maybe to some people, but it's not a lot to others. And I think most people would not assume that you could start a business that would support your life, on that kind of money. And so we did that, and we now have, our jewelry studio. We have our store in Johnstown. We have a lot of things that we, you know, and like I said, we have never had that big boom that like propelled us forward. And maybe we haven't met the right connections or whatever it is, but we have never had that. So we have always worked hard to build those relationships with the people who support us, and letting you know what's going on and what our goals are and what our challenges are has always been part of that. And so that's one of those things. Like I said, we really truly believe that you are the people that, so we know you are the people that support us. We know that you should know what's going on. You are a part of all of this. And maybe you don't look at it that way. Um, it's easy as a shopper. If you're not somebody who watches our lives often or doesn't know much about us, as a shopper, you might be like, why are they telling everybody this? But if you form a connection with us and you form a connection with the brand that is Allegory Gallery, I think you'll understand it. And it's important to us that we have that connection with you and that that we're linked that way. Um, it just always has been. It just always has been. We want you along for the ride. That's what it is. Um, we want you along for the ride for every part of it. And some of you have been along with us for every single part of it. And we're so thankful for that. And, we keep saying we couldn't do this without you, but it's literally true. It's literally true. We don't have investors that, we do. I mean, we've had angel investors that have helped us in many ways and continue to help us. Um, but we don't have the kind of investors that big giant corporate people get to you know to that we should be that more of their income comes that way than from what they actually do, right? And I guess that's what it comes down to. Like, for us, you are our connection to our livelihood, and you are the ones that we want to be connected to. It's not just some, one or two groups or one or two people. Um, we want you along for it. We want to be connected, and that's the way it is. Um, Michelle says, "LOL." He knows he's part of the family. Good. Hello, Anne. Thank you for joining us. Susan has joined us. Hello, hello. Whoops. Let's see here. Anne says, "I think I love handmade because my parents collected antiques, primitives, and folk art. We did crafts. It's how we spent time together as a family." See, and that's so important. My family, we didn't really do a lot of crafts. My brother was into sports. Um, no one in my family, I would say, was really crafty. And I wish that hadn't been the case. My grandmother would sit with us. I should say, my grandmother would sit with us and she would try and teach me, like, she'd draw little birds on a tree. And they were just sketches and stuff, but they were, it was more than I could do. And she tried to teach me that. And she would sit down with me and, we would create. I used to love to play restaurant. I think most kids do. And we'd play restaurant, and she would help me on index cards. We would draw like hot dogs, and we would draw French fries, and so we had food to serve at the restaurant. So we did things like that in some ways, but she was really one of the only ones that I can remember being crafty. And she wasn't generally crafty on her own. She didn't really do. She did sewing to, like, stitch things up, and she taught me a little bit how to sew by hand to. When her drapes would start to fray, we'd sew up the drapes and things like that. But we never had that big push for crafts. We didn't have someone in the family that was a crafter that you'd say, "Oh, that's my aunt or my uncle, and they're crafty." We didn't really have that, and I wish we did in a lot of ways, because I think I would have gotten into that a little bit earlier in life. But as my family has grown, a lot of people in the family have realized that crafting is a good thing. My mom got into a lot of different things, into crochet, into some polymer clay for a while. She used to make little fairy houses and fairy things for out in the yard, and so she still does some things. And my sister-in-law, my brother's wife, she's very crafty. She has a Cricut, and she does a lot of different things and makes things for the kids and for their sports teams and all that. And so, I think our family is starting to learn to appreciate craft more. But it isn't something, unfortunately, that I got to do. And, I think that's just because it wasn't introduced. It just wasn't introduced to us in any way. Like my grandparents, I think my grandparents, they were both too busy working to really do a lot of that with my mom and aunt and uncle, their kids. And like I said, we didn't grow up with a lot of money, so um, It wasn't something that, what was important was schooling and getting good grades, and that was what was emphasized for me. Mostly my brother was into sports, so he got really into sports. But I focused on a lot of things that were academic. There's nothing wrong with any of that. But I do wish, sometimes I wish we would have had more crafting going on. But I don't know if I would have seen the value of it at certain points. I think it came to me when it needed to. And I've fallen in love with this world. And I love all the things that people do and seeing all the things that you all do. Even when it's not with our beads, even when it's with other things. I love it. Cheryl says, I just shared some gifts as the AG Live Challenge. We just buy things through the year and say that's the birthday or holiday present for the year, like concert tickets, a water heater, vinyl siding, right? Yeah, we do a lot of that too, oftentimes. Andrew and I don't focus on trying to get each other gifts at the actual holidays. Like, he goes and does a lot of things, though, that, that money that went toward that, and that has to go toward his gas and the travel and all that. That's your gift for the year, right? And we feel blessed that we are able to do things like that. And we never feel bad about not having a gift on the day. At first, we used to try to make sure, but as the business has grown, we don't get upset with one another where's my gift? You didn't give me a gift this year. And so we oftentimes, if we can just take the day together and just kind of chill out, that's that's often, or work on our things, or get something done. Sometimes it is that just calms our mind, something to calm our mind, whether it's getting work done or whether it's chilling out. Because both things can calm your mind, right? Sometimes you have too much on your mind, you got to get something done. We're just thankful that we're able to do that if we're able to do that. Michelle says, my grandmother made some clothes when I was a kid. She even made my Barbie clothes, which was awesome. Yeah, Andrew grew up with that too. His grandmother quilted. His mom made, dolls and clothes. And he grew up with a lot of crafting around. And, he obviously, that's where his love of it came from. And he's, led a life of crafting and art. To the point where he went to art school, and like art school was not even a thing that I would have ever considered in my life. Like it wouldn't like, it wouldn't have been a thing. I did think about going to a fashion school. I actually really wanted to do fashion design for a while, but because I had never had any experience in really, any type of art or crafting or sketching, I never felt like I could have done that. So that's one of those things that maybe someday, right? Demeter says, this is so encouraging. Appreciate the live. Thank you. Um, Michelle says she even made me custom dolls. She was a great artist. That's awesome. I know, like Andrew grew up with that too. And it's so awesome when you can have things like that. Michelle says, I got the privilege to grow up with an artist. I got to learn a lot from her. That's awesome. Right? Yeah, I think it is a privilege, and there's a lot of stuff that when my grandmother and grandfather passed, we were cleaning out their house, and there are certain things that I wanted, certain things. There are things that I took just because it was theirs, and I remember it being around, and it will spark memories for years to come. But then there are certain things that, my most important thing that I wanted were my grandmother's photographs. And she wasn't a pro photographer or anything like that, but she, at every family event, had her camera. Her camera was always it was always stored in a drawer that was kind of central to the house. So no matter, well, central to where they mostly were in the house. So anytime if she saw a deer outside the window, or she saw a particular bird outside the window, she could go get her camera real quick and take a picture. And those are the things, I think, the things that, the crafts, the photographs, the drawings, the letters, those are the things that mean the most in the end. Um, my grandparents, they had, at the end of their lives, they had a good bit, and they were happy, and you know, um, they could have bought a lot of stuff, right? But it was none of that stuff that, that, and I think they came to this pretty early in life. It's not the stuff, it's the memories, and they made a lot of memories, and those are the kind of things I think that, we're lucky when we can have people around like that, and we're lucky to learn from those people, and we're lucky to have their products and their things left to us when they're gone, because that's a true connection with someone, right? Like, as much as I love, technology, you know, an old iPhone from somebody that's passed away is not going to be as meaningful. It may have pictures and things on it, but the phone itself is not going to be as meaningful as, something somebody hand created by hand. And I think that's what's so important about the industry that we're in. And, we don't talk about it all the time as an industry, but, the sector that we're in, the hand created things are the things that everybody, tries to keep, I think, right? Those are, some people are out there, of course, oh, I want their refrigerator. They had a nicer refrigerator than mine, or, when people pass away. But really, the most sentimental things are the things that were handmade or hand done in some way. And, knowing that we supply things that people use to make those things is really a good feeling, and we like it a lot. Jennifer says, we were with you clearing the vegetation at Star Cottage. Right, right. Yeah, there's a lot to do here. Michelle says, lost her when I was 13. That's hard. That has to be hard. I was very lucky that I had my grandparents into um, most of them into my 30s. My one grandfather died before that, but most of them into my 30s. Dominion says it's giving more than just a material object, right? Lennis is lurking. Can't type much right now, but waves hi. Hello, Lennis. Hello, hello. Karen has joined in. Hello, Karen. Thank you for joining in. Karen says, my uncle owned a hobby craft factory. We were the guinea pigs. The rest of my family are either fine artists or had clothing factories. Wow. That's something. um, but that's cool though, right? And it's all different, and I don't like to draw a line between, fine art and, people who are doing things, because there's so much out there, and I'm no art critic. I did not study art, but to say that somebody is not a fine artist or just a hobby artist, there's so much that, turns that makes waves, I guess. And you never know where the next thing is coming from. And, I think art, in whatever way you do it, is super important. And like I said, I didn't grow up with it. When I had an art class in high school, in elementary school, it kind of scared me. To be completely honest, it was one of those classes that sometimes gave me, I got a little bit, my anxiety got a little upset, because, sorry, I never felt that I was an artist, right? I was like, why am I taking, like, I had to take the class. It was a requisite. You had to take it. We didn't have a choice. Um, but I was always like, why are they making people take this? Like, I can't draw. I can't do this. I can't do that. And I kind of wish back then I would have had more people around that just kind of said, you're just trying this. Just do it. Just have fun with it. It is a way to engage a part of yourself that you rarely get to in most days. And that's really true for me. I was very academic, and so playing with stuff, paper, and glitter and scissors and cutting things and making things, that was something that I very rarely ever would have done. And so I didn't see the value of it, and I actually was a little bit afraid of it back then. But I've come to realize it's important. It's important that you just realize whether you think you can draw or not. That's why I tell people when they come into the store. I had someone this weekend, actually. I didn't even talk about this weekend. I had someone come into the store. They booked a private class with me. Um, and we made 2 bracelets and 2 pairs of earrings. I haven't even shared it yet. And at the end of it, she told me, I felt I was never going to be able to do this. She really booked an appointment just on, from getting to know us, and, we keep telling you everyone can do it. She really did not feel that she was able to do it, or she was going to be able to do it. And she's like, look, I have 2 bracelets that I can actually wear. Like, she was surprised that she made something that was wearable by the end of it. And that's what I feel that art and crafting should be. It should be presented as just give it a try. Just make something. Just do it. Just try it. Because if you try it with the right people, you're going to have fun with it. Whether it comes out in the end or not isn't even the purpose at that point. It's just to have fun trying something different. And if you try it with the right people, you're probably going to be able to do it, right? And like I said, I'm one of those people like, I can't draw. And I know there are some people that are more talented right away, right? That's always the case with everything in life. And I am not a talented drawer right away. But I do believe, as Andrew always says, it is a skill that can be learned. I believe anything can be learned. I'm one of those people that if you spend enough time doing it, it can be learned. And so when people say I'm not creative, creativity, I think, is within every single person. I would not say that anyone is not creative, because I have seen people come in and they are, academic, or they are, I'm an accountant, and I've seen them be creative. I've seen it happen, and I've seen the change, and it really helps. Anyway, okay, let's see here. Anne says, we don't exchange gifts on holidays anymore. We also just do buy things for each other throughout the year, and we get ourselves gifts whenever. It's a good thing. I think that's the way to do it. Michelle says, we're more like that too. Anne says, Michelle takes the stress out of the holidays for me. I prefer it. We just get together and really enjoy without all the hubbub. Yeah, I think that's the way to do it, right? I think that's the way to do it. Susan says, my mom taught me to knit, and I do cross stitch, but I am not creative like you all. I need to follow a pattern. I admire every one of you. And I think that's, there are some people that cannot follow a pattern, So, I always, when people say things like that, like, I'm glad you admire us and everyone, Susie, but don't knock yourself because you need to follow a pattern. There are people in the world that cannot follow a pattern, right? They couldn't follow a pattern if their life depended on it. So they have to rely on a different way. And I think that's what makes everything special, is that there are all different types. And if you find the way that you can be creative, it might not be the same as someone else. It probably won't be the same as someone else, but it's still creativity, and it's still beautiful. And I think that's awesome that you can knit. I have never learned to knit. Actually, I shouldn't say that. My Aunt Ethel, when I was very young, it was Christmas, I think. It was a holiday, Christmas or Thanksgiving, at my grandparents on my dad's side. And she, I believe, had knitting needles and taught me quickly how to do a quick knitting stitch. I didn't know what it was back then. I didn't really understand it, or what it could do. I didn't really understand what she was doing with it, but I did learn it at one point. And I think it was my Aunt Ethel who taught me that. Let's see here. Karen says, I went to art college and university for science and art history. Nice. Dominion says, creativity is so important. It is. Karen says, I've recently given my family my paintings, sculptures, and silver pieces I didn't sell. That's nice. Art is subjective and should never be objective, but it is. That's what I taught my students. Yeah, I think that's right. It's, I don't know. I could go on about this forever, but I've gone on quite a lot already. Um, even Suzanne's back from dinner. Um, and says, I'm so happy for that person to get to accomplish something she wanted to do. What a great feeling it must be to help someone find that in themselves. I love that. It's one of the reasons that we keep trying to push the classes in the store, because so many people, including me, used to say or have said they're not creative, and you can be. You can learn it. You can do it. And so many people find that it's so nice when they actually do, and that they learn something about themselves. It's about learning something about yourself. And um, I think we see a lot of people who come into the store who are retired. Um, this is something that they're considering doing. They've thought about it their whole life. At certain points in their life, they're like, oh, maybe I would like to learn how to make jewelry. Maybe I'd like, they're like, well, when I was in my 20s, I may have given it a try, or I thought about it, in my 30s and 40s, but I was too busy and I never really had the time. And they come to us and they're retired. And their whole life, they've thought about doing this thing, but they never thought they could. And, I think many of us have that thing in the back of our mind that we've wanted to do for a lot of our life, but we never gave it that try, or we never found the time, or um, never made it a priority. And when you see somebody that has done that, and then they come in and they're already feeling down about it, um, because the main reason they haven't really tried is because they thought they couldn't do it. And then you show them that they can do it, and they light up, um, and they realize, they really light up, and they really feel that this is something that they could accomplish. It's amazing to see. It's amazing to see. And, some people are more boisterous about it. Some people are quieter about it, but you can see it and you can feel it. And it's always a delight. It's always a delight. Even for people who try and they're like, oh, I'm not no good. Even the people who are still down on themselves, like, oh, it didn't really turn out good. It didn't really, they still did it. Um, they still gave it a try. And that's the first step, giving it that try. Anne says, hi, I can't follow a pattern. I totally admire, for example, seed beaters. I could never make those things. I don't know if I could or couldn't. I feel like I would be somebody who had to follow a pattern. I feel like that would be my only choice, because I put myself in one of those, I kind of say I'm not creative sometimes. So like when Andrew comes up with a snowflake pattern off the top of his head, or comes up with a creature pattern, or um, does things like that, that's crazy to me. It's crazy. But I feel like if I had a pattern, maybe I could. But then again, I've seen seed beating patterns. And I don't know if you've never seen one. Some of these patterns are super complex, and they've got arrows everywhere. So I don't know. I don't know if I could or couldn't do that. Um, Demita says, I want to learn how to make more things and or locate and buy from those who can, especially for furniture. Yeah, yeah. Furniture is one of those things that I think could be fun, but I don't have the time. I don't have the time, and we make some of our furniture, like very basic furniture here for the studio, um, with tables and things like that we've made, and they're good. They work well, but we never get a lot of time to spend on them and really like make something fancy. But I can see how that could be enjoyable. And for a lot of my life, like I said, I spent my life believing that I couldn't do that. And so I sometimes, put that down in my head, like that's not something that, that's not something I would do. But now I'm like, let's maybe try it. I don't know. And it's going to have me making tables now. We got to make tables anyway. So we'll see. But, you know, um, I don't know. I think it's fun to try new things sometimes, a lot of times. Um, Nancy said, "Hey guys, I owe you money. Please send invoice." I did send you an invoice, Nancy. I sent you one. I sent you one yesterday or the day before, Saturday or Sunday. So check your email. I did send it out to you. If that was for the print. If there was something else you wanted, let me know. Um, Karen says, I miss classes since COVID, but the stores by me have closed. That's a problem, right? That's one of the reasons we are mostly online. Our physical store is not really bringing in much right now. And we knew that would be the case when we reopened in another town. But the reason we are trying to keep that going is to be there for the community and still keep a bead store in the world that has not gone out of business. Um, but in some ways, it would be easier to be online only. Um, but we'll see. We're hoping that things happen and people decide to keep coming out. So we're having a sip and shop this Saturday coming up. We've shared that event on our timeline. We are asking everyone to please share that. You never know who might be in the area that you might know. You might think that, yeah, it's an in-store event and I don't know anyone in that area, but you don't know who your Facebook, connections are going to reach. So we're asking, please share that event, let people know. If they're in the Johnstown area in Pennsylvania here, maybe they'll want to stop by and learn who we are and learn what we're about. Because there aren't many bead stores around anymore. Many, many, many of them have closed. There were a lot that closed before COVID. There were even more that have closed since. And we're just trying to keep ours going and not be online only like so many have gone to. Michelle says, freestyle is hard for me. Patterns are easy. Anne says, OMG, seed bead patterns just hurt my brain. I don't know what they are talking about. I feel like that's the case too. Hey, Sandra says, when I took my first class, my first jewelry class at Joann's, I was like, I never could do it. Taking a jewelry class was on my bucket list, but I was smitten, right? And now you've got a jewelry company. You never know what's going to happen, right? You never know what's going to happen. Follow your dreams. I am you know, um, I don't know if you've ever heard of the book Ask and It Is Given. Um, I think it came out before The Secret. The Secret is the one that a lot of people know. Ask and It Is Given came out, I think, before. And it is a book I read, I think, when I was in New York or maybe when I was in college. And it's about the law of attraction. It's all about the law of attraction. But it all talks, all that boils down to, the things that are in your head that you keep thinking about and you keep wanting to do that you feel like would give you such positive energy and such, positive emotions. You should try them, right? And I'm trying to do this more in my life because I can have, surprisingly, many people may not think it, but I can have a very negative outlook on things. Um, I've I've been through a lot, past traumas. We went through drugs and alcohol with my family, and I went through vitiligo. I went through the people making fun of me for that. I was a skinny, scrawny kid. People made fun of me for that. I was an academic. People made fun of me. It was like the whole thing. Coming out as gay, people made fun of me for that. People hated me for that. I so I fight to this day with those walls that I built up in protecting myself. So I would count other people out. I would be negative toward other people before they could be negative to me. That's a protection device. Um, and so it's one of those things that I'm trying to learn now and be better about all those things that are in my head um, that I feel like are the real me that would bring me joy. I've been trying to follow them and just kind of see where it takes me. And that's pretty much what the whole secret is, you know, you put out that energy and you get back the energy you put out. So if you've had something in your mind that you were like, I really want to do it, but I don't think I can, there's a reason. I believe there's a reason you are feeling you want to do it, because it is something that you can do. It is something that you are meant to try, um, for whatever reason. I grew up pretending with my cousin that we owned a small business. My whole life, I have admired and worked for small business owners. Um, you know, growing up, I would have told you it would have been crazy to think that I would have had a small business, because we didn't come from much. And in our world, you worked for other people so that you could make a living. And so to actually have a small business that supports us is, you know, I followed that. And I even had to talk Andrew into it at the beginning, because he was like, nah, let's not go there. Um, and it has been something that, you know, it is a hard life sometimes, but I'm trying more to talk about it not in that way, because, you know, that just brings you more difficulty. And so trying to be very positive and have a more positive outlook about those things. And the things that you feel that you've wanted to try your whole life, or you really felt like you wanted to do them. Go try them if you have an opportunity to do that. Um, Even if you don't, try to make the opportunity to do it. Because I really do believe that those are the things, those callings are things that are going to take you to the next level. Anyway, and says, Sandra, look at you now, right? Nancy says, yes, you could seed bead. I taught many who never thought they could do it. The hardest part is threading the needle. And as I'm getting older, that eyesight, I used to be able to go right like that, go whoop, and see everything. And now I'm starting to do that, you know, that everyone starts to do. Suzanne says, boy, is that true. Um, Nancy says, uh-oh, you might have my old email. I might. Yeah, I might. I'll have to look. Because I think I just sent it from whatever we had on file. I don't think I checked to make sure it was from the same email that you had sent the request from. So I'll check on that. That might be the reason. My hair is getting wild. I got to get a haircut. Michelle says, I love making seed bead patterns. It makes me so happy when I see the results from the items. I bet. It should, right? You work hard on it. And so you work hard, and you're doing this thing that you're passionate about, and then you get this outcome. And I'm trying to be more about the journey than the destination. I have been a destination person my whole life. Um, and I really have my whole life. Um, well, maybe not when I was a kid, but I was very much, you know, thrown into, I believe, in life in some ways with everything I went through. I just wanted to get out of certain situations and into other situations, and I wanted to be there, and I wanted to not worry about things anymore. And so my life became very much about the destination. And I'm very much trying to learn that it's the journey. It truly is the journey, and I know that. Theoretically, I know that. Um, but the destination, it's still a thing. It's still one of those things. I want to be there already. I have a hard time taking time for things because I want to be there already, but I'm trying to learn. I'm getting better. It's going to take a while. Sandra says, Michelle, your work is so beautiful. I can't work with beads that small. It's hard for some people, right? That's what I say too, but I believe we could all do it if we really wanted to. But that may not be our passion, right? We may not be following that for a passion. See, I love the AG Bead fam, how nice you are to each other and how you incentivize others and, you know, to do their best and commend them when they do. It's amazing. Let's see here. Michelle says, your wire work, Sandra, is beautiful too. Or your work is beautiful too. Your wire work is very good. And says, this software we use at work has pictures of different people when we log on, an equity thing. They have some with vitiligo. I like to see them having a wide range to normalize everyone. Yeah, you know, there are models now that have vitiligo, and that's amazing. I'm very happy about that. When I got it, um, it was before the internet. Nobody knew what was going on. I was just very splotchy. Um, and most people don't know that I even have it or had it because I'm just pale now. But I went through a period of a number of years where I had the I you know I tanned in certain areas and was very white in others, and it runs in my family. My grandmother has it. My great aunt has it. Um, but um, I got it the most, and I got it around 13 or 14. You know, going through puberty, going through all these changes anyway. So it was very hard on me. Um, but I didn't have anywhere to look. My mom didn't know what was happening. The doctors, it wasn't. I mean, the doctors knew obviously, but it was not something that happened often, at least to the extent it was happening to me. Um, but mine, which probably was the best thing for me, mine eventually got to the point where I have almost no pigment anywhere. So that actually helped me get over it. I don't know. I don't know if I would have done as well um, if it stayed the way it was, if it was just partial. Um, I think I would have had a much harder time of life. Um, so I'm thankful that it happened that way for me. For people who are dealing with it now and have it now, and it is something that most people understand what it is. When I used to say vitiligo, nobody knew what that was around here, around where I grew up. And now people know, and they can point out sometimes models or social media people who have it, and that's amazing. And I think, I think that's wonderful that we've come to that point, and that's one of the things that technology has allowed us to do, to see people um, of all different things that happen to people that can things that can happen and things that should be normalized because there's nothing wrong with the people who have it, right? There was nothing wrong with me, but I didn't feel that way back then, and so um, I got very lucky that mine went mostly away. I had a very hard time with it because I used to tan all summer. Um, and I was a very tan person, actually. I never burned. I never, I very rarely ever had a sunburn. Um, I was one of those people that just went outside and tanned. And, as a kid, I ran around, no shirt, no sunscreen, which is probably, good that now I have to put on sunscreen. But it was a big change for me. Um, but I'm glad they do that. All right. Anyway, so that's the chat. We've been chatting for quite a while. We're going to look at some Czech glass today. Some of it is vintage, some of it is modern. Um, Thank you for the talk, by the way. It was nice. I like chatting with you all. And I like when you prompt me for different things and I can, I felt very chatty today. I've been mostly by myself. Andrew was up all night, so I didn't see him. He went to bed pretty much when I was getting up. And I talked to the cats a little bit today, but I've mostly talked to nobody all day. So it's nice to chat with you all. And like I said, we're gonna look at some Czech glass now, vintage Czech glass, modern Czech glass, but also I think I threw in some strands that are some German and maybe some Japanese in there. There's not many of that, but they'll be here and there maybe. So let's take a look. I've got about 40 lots for us again tonight. I do not have my computer. Many of these strands, there's only one. I know there's more of some of them, but I don't have the computer to say if they're selling or not selling. So we're just going to go through them today. I'm going to show them to you. We're going to do the sizes, but I can't tell you if they're sold. So if there's something you want to purchase, if you're new, I think we have a few new people here. To purchase from this video, you'll take down the lot number that we'll give you. We'll give you a piece of paper. It has a lot number on it. You take down the lot number, put it in the subject line of an email, address that email to info@allegorygallery.com. That's up here. I think it's up here, and it's also scrolling down here. And just send us that email. First come, first serve. If you do send an email for it, and you get it, we are expecting you to buy it, right? No take backs, because that messes everything up. So, before we used to say that a lot. Sometimes we'd have people who would like send an email for everything, and then when I sent them the invoice for everything, or almost everything, they're like, "Oh no, I just really wanted that one, that one, and that one." That doesn't work. We don't do that. So that's why we say it now. If you send an email, please be willing to take what you get. All right? No take backsies, says Sandra. That's right. That's right. Dominion says, your chat today was great. You seem really good. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. I'm okay. We've all come a long way in this life, right? All of us, every one of us. And I try to keep that in mind. We meet a lot of people doing this. Here I go again. We meet a lot of people doing this. And some people, no one knows what you've been through unless they know, right? And you don't know what anyone else has been through unless you know. And so that's one of the reasons we do open up about our business, about what we're doing, about who we are. We try to be very transparent about things, is so that you understand where we're coming from. And hopefully you open up to us and we can understand where you are coming from. And that helps, right? The more you can understand one another, the more you can build relationships with one another, the more you can count on one another, right? And the more we can create this wonderful AG Bead fam and really, really, come together and mean something to one another. I think so many people are afraid to open up. I think that's always been the case, probably for a very long time through civilization. But I think especially now, a lot of times people are afraid to open up about who they are. I think we're getting better about it. I like to think we're getting better about it. I think younger generations are getting better about it. But we have to be the ones to take that stigma away, right? It starts with everybody. It starts, older generations have to let the newer generations know it's okay. It's okay to be who you are. It's okay to open up. It's okay to admit when you're wrong or to admit how you feel. It's okay, right? And that's why we do what we do. And sometimes I get off on tangents about anxiety and the things I've gone through, and because it's okay. Right? It's okay to admit. It's okay to talk about it. It's okay because it lets other people know that they are not alone. And if my talk, can help one person realize they are not alone, that they can relate to something I've been through and they feel less cut off from the world, then good. Then I feel glad about that. All right. Let's see here. Okay. Let's flip this camera around. No wonder it was so shaky. My camera was shaky. What is going on? Some days. And like I said, my stand is literally on its last leg. It has one good leg. And the other two I've taped up. So I hope the tape holds, at least through this live, but I'm going to try not to knock the camera too much, hopefully, today. But it's funny. It's on its last leg. It's got one good leg left. Okay. Let's see here. Suzanne says, I changed my pronouns in solidarity. What did you change your pronouns to, Suzanne? I don't think I knew that you did that. Susie has just joined in. Susie, you missed all the talk. Maybe that's on purpose. But thank you for joining us, Susie. I hope you're doing well. So these strands, we're doing this kind of pricing on the fly again. I gathered some stuff, and we're doing the pricing on the fly. So that's just the way it's going to be today. So hopefully you'll hang out with me and have some fun. And we're going to go through these things. And we're going to enjoy each other's company for a little bit longer. Let's see here. Sandra says, I'm so excited. I had 5 sales this week. It gave me the confirmation that people like my jewelry. I know it's Christmas time and I'm running ads. It feels good though. A possibility of 2 custom orders. That is awesome. Congratulations, Sandra. I know it is hard. Believe me, we know how hard it can be getting started. And I know you're not quite at the getting started phase, but it is always good to see those orders come in. And I'm proud of you. You've been doing a great job. Let me think of a lot number. What have I not used? I'm going to go with EL because I don't think I've done EL before, or at least recently. Suzanne switched to she, they. Awesome. I've been considering that. Oh, that's a whole nother thing, too. That's a whole other thing. Back in the day when I was in college, getting out of high school and in college, I really came into my own in high school in my 12th grade year, my last year of high school. I started finding myself a little bit again. I was still, a kid, still confused about things, but I was starting to do that. And when I got into college, it really let me experiment a little bit. And 100% in college, I would have considered myself they if that was something that was happening back then, but it was not. Um, let's do this for $6. We're going to try and give you really good pricing tonight. And so these are 4 millimeters by 10, and this is hexagons, vintage Czech glass. Normally a $6 strand of these, we literally have these in the store, not in this color, but a strand like this is about $6. So there's probably about 3 of those on there. This is an exceptionally good price. So if you like that, I hope you'll grab it. There are 4 of these available. EL1. So yeah, back in college, I would have considered myself they. And, as I've grown since that point and changed, there's still a part of me that feels that way, but I feel like I was, I don't want to say forced, but semi-forced into being, more binary, being more masculine. So right now at this point, I don't know if I still feel like they. There's still a part of me that does. So, I take that seriously though, and I try to, if that happens, it will be after a lot of consideration about who I still feel I am, and and yeah, I don't know. I like that you did that. I like that you did that. I think sometimes we have to be like I said, the ones that show that it's okay, and I like that. And it says there was a school shooting in Madison today. Tragic. I think not being able to talk about what is going on with them contributes to that. I believe that 100%. I believe, I don't want to say I was a violent kid, but I had a lot of anger, and I had a lot of anger with what I went through, and mine was not even sometimes. I mean, I went through a lot, but compared to what some people go through, it can be worse, right? And I think not being able to talk about things is definitely part of all of that. I didn't know there was a shooting today. I missed that news. That's terrible. It's too much of that happening. Too much of that happening. Let's see here. All right. Everyone's saying that's awesome, Sandra. Fantastic, Sandra. Yeah. Susie can't find today's live on YouTube for some reason, so on Facebook. That's weird. It's definitely there. People are definitely there. I even did it in the community tab on YouTube. So if you go to YouTube.com/Allegory Gallery, you can always go directly there, and you should always see it right there, youtube.com/allegory gallery, and it should be right at the top. Let's see what next thing I have here. I have one of these, and let's do it. Normally these are like $6 or $7. Let's do it at $5. I've got one of these here. It's this one. I love these. I love these. Sandra said those are pretty. They are pretty, right? These are pretty too. These are about 9.3 millimeters. Boy, is that right? It's hard to get in here. By about 8, I'm gonna say. Hey Anna, nice to see you here. Thanks for joining us. You missed all the deep talk. We got deep today. I don't know. We got talking about emotions and all different things today. So hopefully if you like that. Anna says those are some of my favorite Czech glass. I know, they're nice, right? I think so. I love these. I have these in this color, and I think I have another color coming up later, but I don't know if it's in line here. I just threw everything in a bag, so I'm just pulling it out of the bag, and we're pricing as we go. And I don't have, like I said, if you're just joining us, I don't have the computer to say what, if anybody's buying it, so we're just gonna not know today. Sometimes I like not knowing. Sometimes it distracts me if I see things aren't selling. You know, you do a lot of work. Like we do a lot of work. We try really hard to make things nice and to sell things. And sometimes if you see things aren't selling, it can bring down the vibe, and then I get negative about stuff. Like I was saying earlier, I'm trying to be more positive about stuff in life and not tend toward the negative, because I can do that sometimes. So sometimes it's nice for me not to see what is selling or not. There's only one of these. This is a B Czech glass. And I think these are more modern. I don't think these are vintage. But they're about 12 millimeters by about 4.3. And there's one strand of the B Czech glass, only $5. $5. It's red and gold. Gold or copper. Sometimes I have a hard time distinguishing whether it's gold or copper. I think they're gold. They look gold to me. EL3, one strand available. Now don't give up talking, everybody. I want to hear some more talking while we're doing this, because if everyone stops talking when I'm showing the beads, then I get bored. All right? So don't do that. Don't do that. Anna says, I see we're talking about pronouns and validating people. One of my classmates from junior high and high school announced in June that they are transitioning. I'm so happy for her. That's awesome. I have this at 8, and I can't go below that. I know these were a little bit expensive. That's what we charge in the store. I'm sorry I can't do any better, but I think this is the only strand we've got of these. These are the other bees. Anne says, Anna, I love people being their authentic selves. Me too. Anna says she's had fabulous support from her long-term employer. That's awesome. That's not always the case, right? And, you know, we are all for people being their true selves. I think that's so important. And, you know, we have a lot of trans friends, and they're not hurting anyone by being themselves. And that's what we need to kind of get across. You don't hurt people by being your true self. You might hurt people when you're not your true self. And that goes back to, Anne was talking about, you know, shootings and things that happen because people aren't able to be who they are. And so I do believe that more people hurt other people because they can't be their true self than those who are being their true self. And I'm so happy for everybody who is able to transition. And I always I love, when people tell me, and because it's something to get excited for. It's something that, is not easy for people. And really, society doesn't make it easy for people. And it's one of those things. Sorry, I'm trying to do all this stuff at once. I'm trying to talk about, I don't want to say anything wrong because I'm thinking about pricing things for the live. So um, let's just put these at $4. That's a good deal, I think. And I think there are 4 of these available. $4, 4 of these available. So these are these little shells, these vintage Czech glass shell beads in this beautiful purple color. Yeah, I am so excited when people tell me they're transitioning, because it's just it's getting to be your true self. And if you've ever hidden yourself in any way, which I think many of us can relate to, these are about 8.5 millimeters by 8.5 millimeters. I think many of us can relate to hiding yourself in some way. I'm happy for you if you've never had to do that. But that is definitely something I did for a lot of my life, and still do, actually. There's still a big part of me that a lot of people don't know, that I'm just figuring out myself again, even. And so when people can actually, let you know and can see it in themselves, it's such an amazing experience. And this is exactly, but for those of us over 50, you think you are open, but you find yourself challenging yourself to learn and relearn. That happens anyway. That happens anyway. And I don't think that's any particular age. It's just sometimes sometimes we just don't know, right? Or sometimes we've never been taught. And that is one of those things that I think, a lot of people get down on younger generations, but I think the younger generations have so many things to teach us, about acceptance. And we had these at 12 before. I'm going to bring them down to 10, even though this should really be about 14 or 16. Karen says, good night, everyone. Unfortunately, I have to get up early to get downtown. That's life in a big city. Where are you at, Karen? I don't know where you're at, but yes, it is. I remember navigating New York City was crazy sometimes. But have a great night. Anna says, I'm getting better. I don't have to think about it before I use correct pronouns for my trans worker. I've had numerous customers who either are trans or non-binary, and I'm getting more. That's awesome. I think it's awesome, one, that you're seeing more. It's awesome that more people are able to come out about that, and be their true selves. And, I don't think always that it's a thing about accustomed to using first names or they. I see. Karen says, Toronto, it's worse than NYC now. Oh, I haven't been to Toronto in years, but I've heard it's a little bit crazy sometimes. Well, you have a good night, Karen. Thank you for watching us. Yeah, I don't think that's, I look at it as, I don't think that's a learning thing necessarily, and maybe other people will correct me on that or say differently, but I think it's a habit thing, right? You're calling somebody by something for so long, and your brain, the whole thing about the things that wire together, fire together, or fire together, wire together, you have that person's face and that person's name in your brain have fired and wired together for a long time. And so does the terms for the gender you used or they used to use. And when things like that change, you have to literally overcome the learning of what your brain has done and the neurons that have wired together to make all that happen. So, I don't think it's good that I think the first step is definitely accepting that this is something that is real. This person has changed. This person is transitioning, and you don't fight that, right? You let that be. Um, but I do think that it's hard to expect um, your ability to change that, to do that right away. Like, yes, we want to be considerate. We want to do our best. We always want to make people feel their best. But also, it's very difficult. What do I want to do these at? We had these, I think, at 12. Let's bring these down to 10. These are pretty awesome. I can't go much lower than that. These are made in Western Germany. So this is when Germany was still divided by the Berlin Wall. You had Eastern and Western Germany. So they tagged these as being specifically made in Western Germany. And these are red. They are, well, yeah, they're red. They're like a brown side of red. And there's only one strand available. They're about 11.5 millimeters. But I do think that a lot of it, I think, you want to get it right. And you definitely want to get it right because you want to respect that person. But I do think that everyone that I have talked to, they understand that it can take a while. Like, it takes multiple times of messing up and correcting to sometimes solidify that again. And I think most people recognize that. That's just the way the brain works. But I'm glad you are trying, Anna, and I'm glad that it's going so well for them. Dominion says, do you guys ever see the artists who made entire rooms of or covered in beads? I think they were seed beads. Yeah, they are seed beads. And I forget the artist's name. Andrew would know. He talks about that artist on the live fairly often when we're showing seed beads and stuff. I can't think of her name right now, though. We were just talking about her the other day because we were talking about how she probably doesn't do all the work by herself anymore. But at one point she did. Let's do these at $5. EL8. These are really pretty vintage Czech glass leaves. They're in this pretty blue and teal color. Or light blue. I don't know if that's quite teal. I wouldn't call that teal. It's like a greeny blue, though. Joyce Scott is one, Amy. That's a good one. But I don't think that's the one. There's one that they do literally. They've created they've coated entire kitchens in seed beads. Like the entire room is completely coated. But Joyce Scott does do a lot in seed beading and has done wonderful works in seed beading. We went to see her exhibition in Baltimore. There's Andrew, Liz Lou. There's the name. Hey, Andrew, how was your meeting? Lisa Lou. EL9. Amy's waving hi. Hello, everybody. Andrew's just joining us there now. He must be off of his meeting now. He was in a meeting. He had multiple meetings. Let's see. How many of these do I have? I have 3 of these only. Get in the bag. Okay, I only need 1 of you. Let's do this. We had these at 8. Let's do them at 7. Can't go much lower though, y'all. These are super nice. Andrew says you can see the kitchen she did at the Whitney. So these are black leaf seed beads, and they're drilled at the top like that. and there's a lot of them on here. They are approximately 9.1 millimeters by 8.5. EL9. Lots of little leaves in there. Had them at $8 ones before we showed them to you. I don't know if we've ever showed them more than that. Do them at $7. See if anybody wants any of those. 3 of them available. Michelle says, I love watching on Facebook Battle of the Beadsmith. Not sure if I'm spelling it correctly. I don't know what that is. They make incredible jewelry. I don't think I've seen that. Have I seen that? Andrew says, yep, we're already planning into 2028. Oh my goodness. Who does that? Who does that? That's awesome. EL10 coming up. Andrew says it's a beading competition. I don't think I've seen it. Suzanne says nice. Let's do a 6 on these. These are really pretty. Vintage Czech glass. EL10. Are these corner drilled squares or cubes? Corner drilled cubes. And they've got a really nice coloring. Really nice. Losing words today. Finish. What's the word? Oh, some days. Some days. Amy says designers from all around the world create intricate and ornate pieces. That's awesome. I'm going to have to check that out. These are approximately, I'm going to say 8 millimeters? 8 millimeters. 8 millimeter corner drilled cubes. Swirl. That's a finish. Maybe finish. Finish is good. It's got a nice kind of brown ambery finish, coating, wash, something like that, right? There's a word for it. Wash is maybe good. Sandra says it happens as you age, George. It's happening too fast for me. Too fast. I'm losing my words. And for somebody who loves languages, it's not a fun thing to lose your words. EL11. Michelle says, don't know why I got invited to the group, but I love watching. That's awesome. Don't ask questions, right? Just join and have fun. Let's do these at, I was going to do this at 8, but let's give you a little break. I only have this one. Do it at $6. This is a really pretty strand. Look at this. Look how beautiful those are. EL11, $6 only. And that's 8.5 millimeters. Yeah, I've definitely noticed my words failing me more often lately. I feel like I need to start doing more brain training games. Sandra said EL11 is stunning, isn't it? Super nice. Only one. Beautiful vintage Czech strands. EL12. Here's some of that Japanese. I had some of the German already. Now we're going to have the Japanese. Oh my goodness. That's one strand. Let's do this. Wow. I don't even know what to price it. I thought this was multiple strands. Let's do this at 14. One strand available. Ooh, excuse me. Oh, excuse me. One strand available. This is the strand, everybody. Look how big it is. And this is an old made in Japan tag that tells you that's probably an antique strand at this point. Look, these little glass pink rounds. Andrew says that's a good price for that. These are about 3mm. I think that's a really good price for that. Michelle says, bless you, thank you. EL12, $14, one strand only, 3mm antique Japanese glass beads from the 50s, Andrew said. Got that 50s, that good feeling going on. So if you like that, there's only one strand of those. Anne says, I love all the pink that Marianne hates. Me too. You and me both, Anne. I love this pink. EL12, $14. Anne says EL12 is gorgeous. I think so, and I think I priced it too low, but somebody to get a deal. Somebody to get a deal. Michelle says LOL, same, right? That's why there's something for everyone, right? There's something for everyone. All right, I was going to do this at 8, but some of these have gotten a little worn, so let's do it at 6. Let's do it at 6 because these have a blue on the inside, but some of them you can see have worn off over time. Most of them are still intact, but you know, they're showing their age like me these days. And these are 7.7mm. One strand available. It's a really pretty color blue with that. I love this faceting that they do. It's kind of in triangles, if you can see that. It's in triangles that meet top to tip, top to tip, top to tip. Andrew says, I told Ida Bell ciao, and she said it back. That's cute. That's cute. She's going to be your little Italian kid. Yeah, we've been practicing Italian like crazy. Andrew and I are getting into competitions with each other on Duolingo, learning Italian. If anyone wants to learn Italian with us on Duolingo, we just started, so you can join in on the fun. Friend us on Duolingo. We'd be happy to get more people learning Italian with us. The more that learn it together, the better, the more likely we'll be to actually learn it. So if you'd like to hang out with us on Duolingo, maybe I'll post my little Duolingo screenshot thing on my profile. If would anybody else be interested in learning Italian this year, 2025, the year we all learn Italian in the AGB camp? How about that? How about that? Andrew says if we sell enough beads, maybe we can get the plus account, the super plus account, super family account, or whatever they call it. EL, what is this? EL14. Okay, this was 20. I'm going to bring it down to 18 though. I'm just going to do it. Yeah, the current app is free, but you have to watch a lot of ads in between. So we're hoping it's like I think $9.99 a month for us to get a family plan. So, you know, it doesn't sound like a lot, but when you've already got a lot of things going on, it's a lot. It adds up. So if we sell a lot of beads, maybe we'll get that'll be part of our Italian learning or Italian adventure this year. Dominion says, I use Duolingo to practice Spanish. It's a fun app. Yeah, it is. It is. Suzanne says, sure, I'll do a refresher. All right. All right. Anybody else? Anybody else going to learn Italian with us in 2025? When I get off of here, I'll post my Duolingo link to friend me. I think they give you a QR code. I'll post it on the maybe in the AGB fan in the Allegory Gallery Design Challenges group and on my own profile. This is about 15mm, these beads, and these are super cool. There's only one strand. You can see back in the day, this is 20 bucks. I'm doing it for 18 for y'all. These are nice nuggets. Kind of triangular. I really like these. I like the color. I like the shape. I love triangles. I don't know if you know that about me. I love green and I love triangles. So that's that. EL14. EL15. What's coming up? Let's do these. And this is very fun beads, right? Let's do these. They should be 10. Let's do them for 8. There's a lot of these on here. These are the vintage Czech flower beads. And I don't even know, these might be vintage German from the people in the Czech Republic who went to Germany during the war. But I'm going to say vintage Czech for now. Really pretty. They're almost opalescent. Like they have such a beautiful glow to them. And there's a whole big strand of them. And this is 8 millimeter. They're 8 millimeters by 6, about 6.5. Those little bellflowers. Super pretty. Really glowy. EL15. $8 for that strand. One strand available only. Last one. Anyone else using Duolingo for anything? Learning any other languages? Anybody else out there been using it? Oops, that was the same number I just did. I was looking at it, so I wrote it. That happens a lot. They call that color angel skin. That's cool. I can see why. Sorry, I'm cracking my neck, y'all. I've been hunched over the computer and packing all day. Ooh. Ooh. All right. Vicky says, learning Spanish on Duolingo for about 2 years now. How's it been going? Do you like it? Have you done the, hi Vicky, by the way. Have you done the Duolingo portion? I forget what they call it. There's like the super, and then there's like the mega. I don't know where you can get, you can actually do voice calls. I think it's to AI. Let's do these. Oh, it should be 10, but I'll do it for 8. Have you done any of the voice calling features on it, on Duolingo, since you've been using it a while? These are a table cut, but look at how gorgeous. They're like frosted on the outside. They've got that little purple, little swash going through there. A little right through. Super pretty. Good. What were the other ones that I was thinking? They would be really pretty with EL5. You only have super, so no calling. Okay. I think these would be really pretty with the EL5, which were these. Like, look at those. Those would be pretty together. Be nice. EL5, EL16. Put this back. Get myself out of order now. I'll get really messed up later. EL16. Yeah, I'm still on the part of the app where we're still learning foods and ordering in a cafe and a little bit of introducing yourself. So learning the verb to be so far in I and you. Mary Jane's here, says, hi, how can I buy? To purchase from us, you take down the lot number, which, for example, is this number, EL16. You put that in an email, address that email to info@allegorygallery.com, and hit send. First come, first serve. So you just send us an email with the lot number that you want, and first come, first serve. If you are new to us, as you may be, Mary Jane, looks like I don't recognize your face there, but if you are new to us, make sure you also send us your shipping address so that we can send you out an email with your shipping address. And welcome. Thank you for joining us. Andrew says, I think you got higher points than me because you were on the easier level. I don't know. You mean when I beat you in the competition? Is that what you mean? I'm just fast. I'm just fast. I don't know. I don't know what, if the competition, like mine was all about food still. So I don't know what if they were asking the same questions to you or not. I don't know how that works. This, I can't bring down in price because it is already, this is a modern one. And we already priced this well for as big of a strand as this is. These are these mini flowers in purple and blue. $14 only. Welcome, Mary Jane. Says, yes, new here. Where are you coming? Where are you tuning in from? You don't have to say if you don't want to, but we make friends around the country, and sometimes you realize there are friends near you, and maybe you'll hang out and do beading and jewelry making together. You never know. But if you don't want to say, that's okay too. Andrew says, mine were about brothers and mothers and fathers. Oh, I was still doing the food, so I could get my answers in real quick because I've been listening to the food with you, and listening to the food for mine. EL17, $14. You're in North Carolina. Nice. We have a number of people who tune in from North Carolina. Michelle says, Mary, send a new email for every item you want. Yeah, send a new email every time, and don't reply to an old email to send a new one. Just send a new email every time. If you hit reply, then it groups all your emails together in our inbox and it messes everything up. So just send a new email every time with this in the subject line. Makes it super quick, super easy. Put us in your address book. Put us in your address book. Yeah, if you want to wait until the end and send one big email, you can. But if you want the best chance at getting things, send us a new email each time because it is first come, first serve. And please note, if you do send us an email, if you do win it, you are going to purchase it. There's no takebacks, and we don't tell on air who is getting what because we don't want to, we don't like to talk about everybody's purchases. But if you do send an email, you are saying you will get it if we send you that invoice. So pretty much don't send an email for everything and then at the end say you only wanted 2 things, right? Send an email to info@allegorygallery.com with this in the subject line. That's all. Every time you see something you like, for EL17, for example, we just put EL17 in the subject line, send it to info@allegorygallery.com, hit send. You want the next one, EL18, put that in there, hit send. We do invoice, Mary Jane. We invoice via Square. We'll send you an invoice and we'll add shipping. It's usually about $4.70 or something we put on there for shipping. If you order multiple times before we ship out, we will combine your orders for you automatically. We do our best to combine for you so we save you shipping charges. We know you don't want to pay shipping every time, especially if you're ordering often, so we don't make you do that. We do our best to save you money as much as we can. Okay. EL. And you'll find, as Michelle's helping you, we call ourselves the AG Bead Fam here. Everybody, Allegory Gallery Bead Family, AG Bead Fam. We help each other out. We're good people. We're good people. You don't have to have Square. You can pay via any credit card or debit card using Square. So you don't have to have Square. Because she asked, what if I don't have Square? You don't need it. I'm going to price these real good for y'all. Instead of 8, let's do them at 6. This is a crackle glass. This is a crackle glass. People often ask us, what about PayPal? If you have a PayPal debit card, you can use that to pay the square, but we don't invoice via PayPal. But you can use PayPal in our online store at allegorygallery.com if you purchase from there. We only do the live show invoicing via Square so that everything is in one place and it's easier for us to keep track of everything. All right, so these are 9.5 millimeters approximately, crackle glass. And this is great color for fall and Halloween. It's a great color. Even a sunny bright, you can use that in the summer too. It's like that ambery color. Mix it with some amber and be really pretty. And crackle glass is super cool. They heat it and cool it really quickly so that it shatters kind of internally. And then I believe they heat it again on the outside to anneal it all together so that it doesn't continue to crack. But this is vintage. Andrew says it almost looks like amber. It does almost, right? EL18. So Mary Jane, do you do jewelry? Do you make jewelry already? What kind of things do you make? We love to get to know new people. Everyone say hi. Mary Jane is on YouTube. If you're watching on Facebook, you can't see her. I'm assuming her. I shouldn't assume that. I don't know what your pronouns are, Mary Jane. But what do you make? Let's see here. What do I have on this? I have 2 of these available. And oh, these should be 12 at least. But let's do them for 8. Mary Jane says, no, I don't, but I love glass. Yes, her. Okay. Well, we love glass too. And if you don't make jewelry and you want to learn how to make jewelry, you're in the right place. We have lots of tutorials online, and all these people watching love making jewelry and love helping other people learn how to make jewelry. This is a huge strand. Mary Jane's probably get someone to make me bracelets. Nice. That's an option too, right? Get a friend who does like to make them already. This is 7.4 millimeters approximately. These do vary. You can see how they vary, but this is probably an antique glass at this point. There are 2 strands of this available in this beautiful green color. Only $8 a strand. EL19. EL19. Okay. What do you do, Mary Jane? Sorry, we're asking you specifically all the questions because you're new. You're the newest one today. Feel free not to answer anything that's too personal. We sometimes get a little crazy getting to know each other. So we just ask, but you can always decline to say. We're very friendly here, though. We like to be friendly. All right. This is EL20. We had one like this at the beginning in a different color, and it was $5. So I did a really good price on this one too at $5. Look how beautiful the color is in that. You collect. Nice. We like people who collect. We're collectors of various things. We like to collect too. We have a whole room here full of beads that we've collected. I tend to collect books and never read them, which is the life of a small business owner. Says, no worries, I don't mind the questions. That's good. That's good. If you have any questions for us, feel free to ask. We are a bead store located in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. We also have a small metal studio in Ligonier, Pennsylvania, where we do metal work. Let's see where we at here. EL21. Ooh, these are pretty. Okay, there are 2 of these available. Suzanne says, I read books too, but I try to read them. Yeah, I'm not so good at the reading part. Someday, they're all books that I know that I would love to read. I know that they're me, right? But I haven't gotten to read them. Andrew says, we collect beads, art, jewelry. Seems like we collect cats too. Yeah, we've got 5 cats. We've got 5 cats. Oh, I don't even know what to put these at. Let me see. We had something like these. What did I put on them? I put $5, really? All right. Okay. $5. There we go. EL21, beautiful vintage Czech glass leaf beads in this icy blue. 2 strands available at $5 each. Oh, by the way, if you want more than one, if there's this number down here tells you how many we have available. You can put EL21 times 2, for example, in your subject line if you want to buy both strands or more than one. Vicky says, lately I only collect and fondle beads. Well, that's good. That's good. It's good to collect beads. I like that. I like to collect. What else do I like to collect? I don't know. I don't know. I like to collect technology and craft things, even though I don't always use them. Mary says, I collect old books just to display. I fall asleep when I read. I sometimes have that problem too. Oh, let me give you the size on these, by the way. This is 11.8 millimeters by 7.5. Andrew says, I read most of the books we collect, mostly reference books. I order audiobooks for everything else. Right? Yeah. I do audiobooks now a little bit more too. Mary Jane says, LOL, Vicky, same. Just collect and fondle them, right? It's also good to put them to use once in a while, though, everybody. Just saying. Although, I don't do nearly as much of that. And it says, do you collect fountain pens, William, or am I confusing that? I used to collect them more before we before we had a small business, and I had more of that expendable income. But yes, I did collect pens as well. Ooh, these are fun. These are fun. Let's put these at, let's do them at a low $6. $6 only. Yeah, I did collect pens. You're right, Anne. I just haven't done it as much as I used to. And I also seem to collect journals or notebooks and don't always use them. I just, some things I like. I like pens and stationery. I don't always get to use them. But look how fun these are with this AB finish on these little dagger beads. So cute. And these are about 10 millimeters by 3.5. Mary Jane says, did you say you also have a website? Yeah, allegorygallery.com. Allegorygallery.com. It should be up here too. Same place you're sending the emails to, info@allegorygallery.com. But if you go to allegorygallery.com, we got lots of beads, lots of jewelry, art, beads, good stuff on that website. We are also still trying to, by the end of the month, get enough sales on our website that Shopify is allowing us to take an early loan, which we use those loans to help get us through the winter. So if anyone wants to order something from our website, all that will help us get to that goal. We're close. We're about, I think we're about, was it 8% or 9% away from our goal? So we're trying to get there. Trying to get there. Oh, these are nice. Let's do these. Let's give you a good deal on these too. What the heck? $6. Michelle says, collect beads, stuffed animals. LOL, no room for anything else. Yeah, I feel that. Between our cats and the beads, I feel like we don't have much room. And the books, we don't have much room. Mary Jane says, is the price of the item on the piece of paper when you show it? Yeah, that's the $6. So this is the lot number. This is the price per strand. And if there's a number down here, there's more than one. I'll put the number of how many there are. But if there's no number, or if it's a 1, there's only 1. So this is $6 for this strand. EL23. Look at those. Those are those nice deep blue, cobalt blue. About 17 millimeters by 6.8. One strand available. And when there is one, this is the exact one you will get sent to you. We don't have we don't say there's one, there's like a bunch of them hiding in the back. That's it. That's the one. These are vintage and antique, mostly Czech glass beads. Mary Jane says, do we have to put the price or just the number? Just the number. Just the number. As long as you know the price, you don't have to put the price in the email when you send it. Just the number. Ooh. Ooh, ooh. Okay. EL24. And sometimes we have this already together, but sometimes we do this on the fly. These should be at least 10, but I'm going to do them for 8 for you all, because then you've got the one strand. We're down to a lot of just ones left in a lot of these. So this is kind of, we're selling these off. If we had a bunch of these, I'd still be selling for at least 10. This is a long strand, and it's kind of like, look at it. It's kind of dark rainbow-like, but matte. It's super pretty. It's got some blues and purples and golds in there, but it's in this matte look. Anna says, does anyone remember when we called that blue Noxzema jar blue? Yes, that is the color of the Noxzema jar, right? What, do they still make Noxzema? Is that still a thing? I remember when my grandmother used to have that, and it was so like cool and refreshing, if I remember. Sometimes we put it on our face. Andrew says, playing knockout to clear some room, right? Exactly. Michelle says, my bees are everywhere. My family now just deals with it. That's right. Susan says, maximalism is encoded in my DNA. I think it's in ours, too. It's hard when you have 2 maximalists in the house, right? Michelle says, my dining room table is my work table now. Took over the dining room, right? Look how pretty that is, though. Sometimes when I bring it too close, you can't see, I feel like. But look down there. Look at the colors. EL24. Sandra says, oh, Vicky, we can all relate. She says, I haven't seen my dining room table in months. LOL. Right? Sandra says, Noxzema does still exist. Nice. Anna says, I used to use it. Sandra said, this finish is called Iris. Suzanne says, I'm actually using my beads. What? What? No, you use your beads good. I know. I know. I'm just joking. I know you use them good. You're pretty prolific with your creating. But some people just like to look at them, and that's okay too. That's all right. Okay, this was 12, and we're going to do it for 8. Why not? $8 instead of 12. These are juicy. They look like, I feel like pomegranates, right? Pomegranate seeds. And this is my beads come in faster than they go out. And this is me too, Suzanne, working on a necklace. Nice. Susan says, my hubs would be a Zen minimalist if left to his own devices, which isn't happening. Yeah, I don't understand minimalists, really. I always thought I wanted to be a minimalist, but I think it's just I wish I had somebody to clean for me rather than actually wanting to be a minimalist. 9.5 millimeters by about 5.5. Dominion just finished eating a pomegranate. That's nice. There's one on here. Look at that one that didn't quite get the full coloring. That's kind of cool. $8 for the strand. EL25. EL25. Yeah, like I said, I thought I wanted to be a minimalist, but I don't. I would love it if somebody did, though, come in and clean and organize. I could use an organizer. I don't like to do it. I don't like to organize my things so much. I just like to have them, but I need to get better at it. We've been doing these leaves, I think, at 6. Let's just do this one at 6 too. One of these left. Suzanne says, my husband collects guitars. My grandfather used to collect all different stringed instruments. But he used to play them too. I inherited his mandolin, and hopefully one day I will learn to play the mandolin. I'm kind of afraid to use it right now because I think it's still in tune. I played this thing on the internet of what it should sound like, and as I played it, it sounded right. And I'm afraid to do too much with it because I'm like, if I get it out of tune or I break one of the strings, then that's it. But I actually need to learn more about it so that I can do that. So I know what to do. Beautiful color, says Dominion. It is. These are 14 millimeters by 9 at the widest. 14 by 9 millimeters, EL26. Thank you all who are watching and hanging out and actually commenting and talking. I like it. It helps me get through the live when you all keep talking. It's super hard sometimes when I'm just talking about the beads and nothing else. I know it shouldn't be because their beads are wonderful, but sometimes, y'all, sometimes. Let's see. I have loose beads in this. Let's do those for, there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 of them. Let's do them for $3. Suzanne says, my husband restrings his guitars twice a month. How many does he have that he's restringing twice a month? Do you have to do it that often? Maybe mine really are out of tune. I don't have a good ear for tuning, I think, because I've never done it. So maybe mine is really out of tune and it just sounds okay to me. Because this mandolin has not been tuned or restrung in years, literally probably 10 years at least. Actually now probably closer to 20 years. My grandfather passed away a while ago. Vicky says, I wasn't blessed with any musical talent. In fact, my cat would get angry if I tried to sing to her. I think mine does too sometimes. Mine just, shut up! But I keep singing anyway, even though I can't. Norma says, I have a dulcimer and I even took lessons, but I've never really learned to play yet. There's still time, right? Susan says, I need to make my hairdresser some earrings. Nice. That's a sweet thing to do. Mary Jane says, do you always go live on Mondays? We do. In fact, Mary Jane, we go live every single weekday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time with new stuff. Every weekday, new stuff. Sometimes it's gemstones. Sometimes it's metal beads. Sometimes it's African glass. Sometimes it's like we are tonight, Czech glass. We got tons of stuff. 11 guitars, Suzanne. 11. Wow. Suzanne says, yes, the more you play, the oftener you need to restring. Well, it hasn't been played in a while. Quite a while. It needs to be played. I need to learn. Maybe I'll Italian and the mandolin. Michelle says, I used to play piano and bass. I have a 5-pound bass that I need to play more. Yes, go, do it, do it. Anne says, I sing and dance, and Daniel Tiger does not seem pleased. Yeah. Sometimes I wonder if my cats think I'm in pain when I sing, but I try and let them know that I'm happy, and that's a happy sound, even if it doesn't sound like it. Mary Jane says, it's always the same time. Yes, always 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. Sometimes things come up and we have to change it, but generally 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. Let's do these. Let's do them at 12. I think that's fair. Let's do them at 12. Lena says, the more you play it, the more you will have to restring it, so you'll have to learn. Yeah, I need somebody to show me. I could look, I'm sure I can look on the internet and find out. I found somebody on YouTube who teaches specifically mandolin, because I've read that it's different than, you can't just like get a guitar player to teach you mandolin, I guess. I don't know. These are these little bird tongue beads. I love these. They make such a funky, cool shape together. And these are approximately 17 millimeters by 8.6, 8.5. Mary Jane says, awesome. Yeah, hopefully you'll join us, Mary Jane, for more and hang out with us. We could do about 40 lots a night. We do 30 to 40 lots a night. Sometimes we go crazy and we do more, but it's usually 30 to 40 lots a night so that it's manageable. We start out every live with about 30 minutes to an hour's worth of talking. We just chat with each other and catch up with what's new in our day, and we like to hang out with people. This is our hangout time, and then we get into the live show. So if you don't like the talk at the beginning, tune in about an hour later, and you'll get to the selling part of the show. But I think the talk part is part of the fun. I think too few companies actually spend time with their people anymore. So we try to. Andrew says, I sing to our cats all the time. Andrew said, there's a local mandolin person. Denise took classes from him. There used to be, I've been in contact with a guy who used to be local that does mandolin, but he moved to West Virginia and he does remote classes now. But okay, these were 10. This is a more modern one, I think. Well, no, actually it's not, but well, maybe it is. These might be more modern. I can't do the price lower than that though. But look at these. These are beautiful. This is that gold over that blue. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Michelle says, if you click on notifications on YouTube, you'll get notifications around half hour to 1 hour before they go live. Yeah, I try and put up the banner and the notifications around 6:30 when we go live at 7:30. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. Depends. Andrew says 30 minutes to 2 hours of talking. Yeah, it usually is. 30 minutes to about 2 hours. Mary Jane says, OMG, yes, thank you. Yeah, we hang out every weekday together. It's fun. I love it. I love it. Anne is asking, Michelle, is the notification an email? You do get an email, Anne. I know that because I get the email every day. You get an email, I think, pretty sure. Maybe it's my own. But then also, these are about 12 millimeter by 11. But if you have the app on your phone and you're logged in to the YouTube app and you watch from that, the pop-up, you can turn on notifications to get a pop-up from the app too. EL29, $10. What a deal. These are really pretty. These would make a great bracelet, by the way. Look at that. How nice. They are single hole. They're not double holes. So a single hole in the middle. Sometimes when they're cubed like that, or a square, rectangle, they're double holes. But that's a single hole, which is sometimes really nice because sometimes the double holes are harder. So hopefully, Mary Jane, you'll join us more often and hang out with us. Now let me see here. I did these in red before. They were $5. Boy, I priced those nice and low for y'all. Okay, they were $5. We'll do these ones at $5 too. So we had the red bees earlier, and now we have the blue bees. Blue bee. With the gold bee. Mary Jane says, yes, I will be here. Awesome. You'll get to meet everybody and get to know each other more. We'll get to know you. It'll be awesome. EL30, $5 only. And these are 12 millimeter coins, 12 by, I think they were 5? 12 by 4. 12 by 4. EL30, $5 only. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for hanging out and keeping me company tonight. I know we do this every weeknight, but it's always nice when we have a bunch of people watching and communicating and talking, and not just me doing talking your ear off, because I will talk your ear off if I need to keep the energy going, right? I try anyway, but I like it when you all talk. Wow, this is these should be, what were the, I had green ones similar to this, didn't I? The green ones, they were 12 down to 8. These are a little smaller, so I'm going to do these 10 down to 6, and there are 2 of them available. EL31. Look at these vintage glass rounds. I don't know if these are Czech. They call them druks in Czech when they're round, but these look like, what do they call it, stringer beads? These almost look like stringer beads, the way they are. That's usually when they take the glass and they wrap it around, because you can see multiple layers in some of these. These are generally, they're all different a little bit, but they're about 4.5 millimeter rounds. And there are 2 strands available at $6 only per strand. Dominion says, yeah, being bored is a special kind of uncomfortable. Pretty red beads look even more pomegranate-y. Yeah, they do. Yeah, being bored, being bored is not fun, obviously, but this is something I've learned recently. If you don't know, I like to listen about brain science. It's one of my fun things to do. And when you are bored, your brain restocks dopamine. And Andrew says, stringer beads are made one at a time. Druks are made with a mold. Yeah, I think they're stringer beads, because they are all different a little bit, and they have the loopy glass around them. Like they look like they've been like cotton candy. Ooh, these are nice. That's a shorty strand. It's not a shorty strand, but that would normally be at least 8. Let's put it for 6. Last one of those. Student says, I never get bored. I'm trying to be okay with being bored. We're not very bored usually either. I'm trying to be okay with being a little bored sometimes, because like I get into this thing where we're watching TV, and even while we're watching TV, I'm looking on my phone too, because I feel too bored even just watching the TV. Those are about 9 by 16.5 millimeters. And that's super bad for your dopamine in your brain, so I've heard from a number of people I listen to. So when you're bored, your brain actually rebuilds the dopamine and replenishes it from all that scrolling that you do that kills that dopamine. Because every time you scroll on your phone, you're killing your dopamines. Well, you're using it. And so when you get bored, your brain rebuilds it and gets it ready for the next time you need to use it. So it's good to be bored sometimes. Allow yourself to be bored sometimes. We talk about boredom like it's a bad thing, but it doesn't have to be. I mean, he says it's helpful to know there's a point to boredom, right? Yeah. These are cute little strands. I have a number of these ones. Let's put them at $3. And I'm going to use the MLA because I'm not going to count them all. But I have a number of these. They're just little shorty ones, $3. Little bicones or saucers. And they are 6 millimeters. And it's a really pretty color. Andrew says, sounds like they don't have hobbies. Yeah, it's good to be bored sometimes. Bored doesn't have to mean bad, right? It gets a bad rap, but sometimes you need your brain to rest and shut down a little bit. It's healthy for your brain to be a little bored. But you don't want to go too crazy with it because then you don't get anything done, right? And you don't learn something new every day. Is there something new anyone's learned today? Anna says, love that color, very 50s color. Yeah, it is. Anybody learn anything new today? Tell me what you've learned new today. Ooh, let's do these. Oh, this is probably at least an $8 strand. Let's take it down to $6 for y'all. Andrew says I'm going to skip any invitations from them to hang out. Who, the bored people? You want to hang out with them? These are beautiful. Talk about kind of a 50s color. It's that light. I mean, those probably could go pretty well together, actually. They're a little bit different, but yeah, look at that. Those would be pretty together. So that was EL33 for the small strand, EL33 and EL34. There's multiples of these, but there's only one of this one. And this is 7.5 millimeters. 7.7 is what it's coming up as for EL34. And it says, we were conditioned to always be busy as idle hands of productivity. Yeah. And it says, somebody buy them and make a bracelet. This would be a beautiful bracelet right there. And if you put those little saucers in between, maybe with some gold or silver. Gold or silver would work. Copper would even work. Copper would be beautiful with that. EL34. I mean, he says, I never used to get bored until recently. Well, sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's good. But there is generally, like Andrew said, he's rarely bored because, you know, you can even go out for a walk and try to identify plants, right? Or try to just take in what you're seeing in nature. Ooh, this is nice. Let's give you a good price on this too, last one. Andrew said, like, what's their definition of being bored? Like, some people would consider a lot of what I do is boring, but I like it. For the brain rebuilding, it's kind of like when you are almost like a meditative state. Like, I guess when you're just not, you know, you actively doing a lot. That's what they're talking about. This is about 8.5 by about 13 millimeters. one strand of that available. It's really pretty color. Boy, I'm just like, I have all the same color coming up in together. I didn't plan that, y'all, but that color is coming up a lot here recently, right? You got it there, you got it there, you got it in that one. Nice. Didn't plan it, but I like when that synchronicity happens. I like when the synchronicity happens. Okay, EL 36 coming up. So is flow state considered being bored? No, but flow state does also regenerate dopamine. Flow state is very good for that because as we evolved, the hunter-gatherers in us would spend all day hunting and gathering, right? It wasn't an easy thing to do. And so they got really fixated on that one thing. Let's do, go ahead. Let's bring it under 20 bucks. This is about a $26 strand. Let's bring it under 20 for y'all. Last one. These beautiful drops with that AB finish. The flow state, yeah, is definitely like hunter-gatherers. They would focus on that one thing all day, hunting or gathering, looking for mushrooms, looking for berries, hunting an animal. And our brains are over, 300,000 years or so trained to do that. That's what our brains grew to do. And so now that flow state would help build up the dopamine. And then when you caught the animal or you found that nice pocket of berries, your brain would reward you for all that hard work. So the flow state was part of that hard work. And now we spend that by flipping through our timelines and looking at social media. We hit that dopamine very often instead of doing the hard work first to get it. And so flow state, if you can get into it, is actually very good. And it takes the average human adult 15 minutes to get into flow state. Andrew says, I teach classes on how to reach flow state considered. Yeah, it takes the average adult 15 minutes to get into flow state. And it's one of those things that you can get into flow state on pretty much anything. Andrew says, autocorrect thinks that last statement needs considered. I was wondering what that was. Ooh, these are nice. Let's do these. Let's give a good price. Giving good prices on everything tonight. There are two of these, by the way. There are two of these. $6. Drooks. Czech glass vintage Drooks, which are rounds. They're 8 millimeters. Michelle says, I play with a puzzle app when I get bored. It helps. Yeah. You can actually get into flow state, like even doing things you don't like. Like, I don't like cleaning, right? But they say if you clean for 15 minutes, sometimes you feel like you can really keep going. Like, does anyone get like that hates cleaning? But you get into it and you're like, oh, I could keep doing this. That's flow state. And you can get into it doing things you don't even like to do if you really get focused in on doing the thing. But it takes about 15 minutes. And I've also read or listened to or heard that watching TV is better than scrolling your social media because you can actually get into a type of flow state if you're really interested in your TV program and it's longer than 15 minutes. But your social media, every time you flick through it, you're seeing something new, something new, something new. So that's not anything that's 15 minutes long. So long form content, even if it's TV, is better for you than social media. But who doesn't like to go through social media, right? By the way, follow us at Allegory Gallery on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, everywhere. Make sure you do. Andrew said you can do flow state cleaning whenever you want, right? These are really nice. Let's do these at 6. Anna says, yes, because you have a desire to achieve, like searching for berries and that dopamine when you have a success, right? Yeah. Look at these. These look like amber. These are beautiful. This is 8 millimeters by 13.5. And remember, you are not at all in any way listening or watching a medical channel. Do not take medical advice from us. I just share things that I like learning with brain science. And these things change over time, all the time. All the time. Okay. EL39. We got 2 lots left. 2 lots left, and they're pretty. They are pretty. Let's do this one at. Let's do that at $6 too. These are beautiful. These are, a lot of you have been looking for like different kinds of tube shapes. This is a square tube shaped or rectangular tube shaped red matte vintage Czech glass bead. These are about 5 millimeters by 14.5, let's say. EL39, $6 only. And that's it. That's it, just one of those. All right. Chelsea, those are nice. Those are nice, aren't they? I like them. I love red. Red and green. Favorite colors. Sorry, other colors. I like you too, but I got my favorites. Ooh. Okay. Let's see here. I gotta think about this one. Because these should be about 16. I can't go. Oh. Let's take them to 12. Let's take it to 12. I should just go to 14. Andrew said, Anne's necklace with the 2 beads look good. Yeah, look great. Look at these. Oh, how can you not love that look? Michelle says, you know my son does not like red and green together? What? What? Andrew says, I think we're going to start posting people's designs in our stories more to share a light on people. Yeah, I try and do that once in a while, but I don't do it often enough. But I try and pop them up there. Anna said, those are tempting. I know, aren't they, Anna? Where are you ever going to see that again? Nowhere, most likely. I mean, maybe, but good luck. I don't even know what you would search for. These are about 8.5 millimeters by 8.5. I mean, look at them. $12. What? Like I said, those should have been like 14. They should have stayed at 16, really. They're worth it. But there you go. 1 strand available. Last one. That's all we've got. And for tonight, that's all they wrote. That's all they wrote. Anna says those would be adorable angel bodies. Yeah, they would. Yeah, they would. Okay, let's flip this camera around real quick so I can say a quick goodbye with my... I need to majorly get a haircut, y'all. My hair's getting too long. It's starting to look like... I don't know. Let's get this hair out of my way. Okay. Anyway. Wow. It's getting wild. Andrew says some people have physical reactions to visual stimulus, sometimes called Stendhal syndrome, and contrasting colors can sometimes be too jarring. I could understand that. Sometimes when you see those colors together, like it looks like things are moving when they're not moving. Have you ever seen that? There was I used to work for the British car parts supplier, and there was one workbook there was one workbook for your car, you know, like a manual for the cars, and it had two colors that look like they'd sit on top of each other, and it would constantly look like they were moving because they were contrasting so much. And it says, oh, you're at the cottage. I am. Andrew was on a meeting at home, so I stayed here at the cottage to do this. So Michelle says he does have OCD, so maybe that's why. That could be. Dominion says, what was that called? Stendhal syndrome. Stendhal. Stendhal syndrome is what Andrew says. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. And, you know, like I said, we talk a lot. And hopefully you enjoy that. Hopefully you learn something about us. We get to learn things about you. You learn you're not the only person that thinks weird and crazy things like me. But thank you for hanging out and having a good conversation at the beginning. And thank you for taking a look at the things we have for sale here at the end to keep this business going. Because as much as I would love to just come here every weekday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time and chat with you all, we've got to make money to keep this business going. Otherwise, we risk never being able to chat with you again because we've got to get other jobs, and we'll always be doing those. So help us stay in business. Grab some things if you saw something you like, and we will see you back here tomorrow. I almost said yesterday. We'll see you back here yesterday. No, we'll see you back here tomorrow. All right, around 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Have a great, great, great evening, everybody, and we'll see you soon. Thanks again for hanging out. Bye, everybody.